Welcome on in. Happy Wednesday, Dbacks fans. We appreciate each and every one of you guys for tuning on in here for another episode of Dbacks Dispatch with your trio, Gabe, Brandon, and myself, Brett. We are here to discuss a series review of the three-game matchup against the Cleveland Guardians. Before we kind of dive into that, again, we want to make sure if this is your first time in here, we want to welcome you on whether you're on the YouTube side or on the Spotify, Apple, wherever else you're listening to. Appreciate you guys finding us, tuning on in, spending your free time with us. If you are on the YouTube side, like, comment, subscribe. It really does help. If you're on the Apple or Spotify side, leave us a rating, whatever you feel like we deserve. 1 star, 5 stars, however the system works. Make sure you do that. It really helps with the algorithm. Make sure you guys also follow us on every social media outlet that you guys might have. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, especially on Twitter. We have a link to our Discord that's free. Or if you don't have Twitter, it's also in the YouTube description. So if you have not joined the Discord yet, do it. It's usually popping off for game days and a lot of prospect discussion too. So if you guys are looking for a little bit more of a community to join, again, it is absolutely free. We'd love to have you guys hop on in there. And then make sure you guys also go over to azsnakepit.com. Check out the great articles. Our man Josh does a lot of the article recaps. So if you guys want a little bit more dispatch in life, but in a written form, Josh has over there, as along as a lot of other great writers, great in-depth reviews, deep dives, kind of analysis and all that. So the Snake Pit is your go-to for any Dbacks written content that you guys want. But like I said, we're going to dive on in here and discuss a series win. Thankfully, it wasn't looking like it was going to be a win, but a series win over the Cleveland Guardians. That was actually pretty close, every single one of these. There was no blowouts. There was no, games that was just like over in the fourth inning. Every one of these was pretty close. Game one, the series, the D-backs did drop this opener. Pavin did make his return from the IL, so he was back, the Red Menace that we all know and love. So he was back in the lineup in here. Didn't really make too much of an impact. And I mean, really, most of the offense didn't do as well. But Gallon, pretty solid from Gallon, honestly, considering the kind of numbers he's put up this year. He went 6 innings, 5 hits, 3 runs, 3 strikeouts, 2 home runs, which is still a concern. He now has 26 home runs given up on the season, which is insane. Geraldo Perdomo stays hot. He has another multiple hit game. Probably the only hitter in that game that actually showed up. I believe he's the only one with multiple hits. As the team itself did struggle once again, kind of the theme on the season. They went 1 for 8 with runners in scoring position. But then one of the few bright spots in this game were Curtis and Backus did combine to go 4 shutout to keep the game at least a little bit close. Again, the offense didn't really do much in this one. So the D-backs do drop this first one 3-1 or 1-3. But then game 2, the offense got going a little bit more, which is nice to see. And they helped out Erod. He went 6 2/3, 5 hits, 4 runs, 3 walks, 4 strikeouts, and he gave up a bomb to a future Hall of Famer in Jose Ramirez. So sometimes that happens. Ramirez is a great player. He did get 11 whiffs, so that's another positive. Seems like he keeps trending in that direction of just missing a lot of bats. So Erod's had some pretty solid starts here. Nice to see him follow up that Colorado start. Jake McCarthy. Obviously not the greatest numbers on the season after his atrocious start, but he's looked pretty solid in this one. He did go opposite field with a home run for his 3rd home run of the 2025 campaign, and I believe his first opposite field home run in a couple years, if I'm not mistaken. And he's actually been heating up a little bit. In his last 15 games, he's 327, 340, 531 for an 871 OPS. So if we can get that kind of production out of Jake the rest of the way, that'd be very huge. Corbin went off this game. He had 2 triples in the game, and he now has a D-backs single-season triples leader, I believe, with a 16. And it's also new career high as well. So career high in home runs, career high in triples. Great to see from Corbin Carroll. And who knows, he could potentially, if he hits a couple more here and there, maybe break the all-time single season. Got a little bit of ways to go, but if anyone can do it, I know Corbin can. Perdomo, back-to-back 2-hit games there, so he is just staying hot. Second best shortstop in baseball, right behind Bobby Witt Jr., in my opinion there. Lourdes Gurriel Jr., he wants to take the RISP crown from Geraldo Perdomo. He drove in 3 in this game, including the go-ahead 2-run single to make it 6-4, and the D-backs did not cough up that lead again. Well, Andrew Hoffman did try his best to do it. He did struggle once again, and then after his struggles here, he was optioned back to Reno before today's game. So he'll have a few things to kind of work on down there in Reno for the Aces. But the rest of the bullpen, they bent, but they did not break, and that's kind of a trend that we'll talk about here in a little bit. But they were pretty solid. Saul Frank got his 2nd save of the year. He has a really, really solid ERA, under 2 ERA. Again, smaller sample size, but anything that we can get in a positive aspect from this bullpen, we will take it. And that leads into today's game, the one that's fresh in everyone's mind, the one that I got to take my son to. So who knows, maybe the good luck charm. Brandon Pfaadt started off this game looking a little bit rocky. Wasn't the prettiest first inning, but he really settled in. He went 7 innings, 5 hits. hits, 2 earned, a walk, and 5 strikeouts. This is the third time this season that he's gone 7 plus innings pitched, which is very good. One of the seasons I believe he went 8 was against the Padres before the break. And he now has his season ERA under 5 again with 10 whiffs on the day. So just an outstanding performance from Brandon Pfaadt. I know the Guardians aren't the most run producing offense, but I've seen him kind of get shut down a little bit. Going out.
You sound like you're underwater.
It's still weird.
Nope.
No good. Okay, don't know what the hell I did there. All right, we'll keep moving on. I don't know how long that was going on there. Hopefully, it was just for a minute there. Weird. Maybe I'll have to check out my Elgato. But like I said, Brandon Pfaadt was really solid in this one. Gave us a pitching performance that we really needed there, and it's kind of a trend there. All three starting pitchers did pretty solid, all things considered. Alec Thomas, the young king, continuing to make some improvements. He went 2 for 3. Had a very good bunt in extra innings, which we'll have a little bit more on that later. Finally established a game plan there in extras. Shaun Larkin with another questionable send that did get Alec Thomas cut down at home. I believe they are now at 18 runners thrown out at home, which is number 3 in Major League Baseball. So definitely been a little bit of an issue, and we'll have a little bit more at that as well. Kind of one of our main topics here tonight. But Lourdes Gurriel Jr. thankfully came up clutch, because if it wasn't for him, that run thrown out at home would have been looming large, because it was a 2-1 lead or 2-1 deficit going into the 9th inning. And Lourdes Gurriel Jr. tied things on the second pitch that he saw off Cade Smith, making it 2-2. And that was the first home run that Cade Smith surrendered to a right-handed hitter all season long. And Gurriel's been, like I said, in the last game, they're trying to take the wrist crown from Perdomo. He's been just swinging a hot bat lately. In the last 7 games, he's slashing 321, 367, 679 for over 1,000 OPS. He's got 3 bombs and 12 RBI. And even going back his last 15, a little bit of a bigger sample size. 263, 317, 561 for an 878 OPS with 5 bombs and 19 RBI. So he's really stepped up where our first base position has definitely been lacking in offense. Lourdes kind of stepped in that role and been providing some thump there. A name that I did at least want to mention there, because I know with the state of his bullpen, a lot of bargain bin finds. John Curtis doesn't throw. I think he maybe tops out at 94. He's been pretty solid lately. He has a 1.8 ERA and a .5 WHIP over his last 10 innings pitched over the last 7 games. So he's been actually a pretty decent arm coming out of the bullpen again in lower leverage situations. But hey, you know what? He's getting outs when they matter. Saul Frank there. Speaking of getting outs when they mattered, he got 2 big outs in the 10th inning with that ghost runner, or the Manfred runner, on second base to keep the Guardians scoreless in the 10th. And then the Dbacks, I know we're talking about in our group chat, even in the Discords. Nobody wants to see this team in extra innings, not because they're a threat to other teams, just because we don't want another heartbreak. Thankfully, we didn't have to deal with that. Alec Thomas opened up the inning with a leadoff bunt, which finally, after 100-plus games, they finally have a plan in extra innings. It was nice to see them execute that. And then shades of the 0-1 Gonzo walk-off, ADC had a bloop single broken bat walk-off to send everyone home happy, and that was his second walk-off of his career. So like I said, didn't start off the best there, but the series getting a win again, 2 1-run wins is something that we don't see a lot from this team. We have a pretty tough 1-run deficit, or 1-run record. So getting these last 2 games, winning them with a 1 run is a huge confidence boost going into this upcoming weekend, which again, it's looking pretty grim playoff chances, even if we make it. I don't know if I want to see this bullpen there, but it's going to be a huge confidence boost going into this Red Series. But passing it on to Gabe, I'm going to start things off with you, as well as anybody in the live chat. If you guys have any thoughts or anything like that, let us know. What did you kind of enjoy from the series? I know we have a few topics that we'll go in a little bit more in depth here soon. But what did you see from this team? Certain names that stuck out to you. What did you like? And maybe a few things you might have not liked as much here in this series win over the Guardians.
I guess the main thing for me is just seeing certain guys come out and be able to hit the ball a lot better than they have. I know Corbin has been, good this whole season. Like, it sounds weird to say, but I feel like to a certain extent he's been underperforming for most of the season. Like, most of it, his hits are slugging hits, so he usually ends up on second or third or hits a home run. Doesn't hit a lot of singles, which is fine. I think he made a joke about it, why he doesn't steal as much, and he said, I'm usually on second or third, so there's not much to steal there. But the main thing with Corbin that I wanted to see is get multiple hits per game. He hasn't really done that. Usually it's either 0 for 4 1 for 4. I mean, that explains the 250 average. And I know average isn't everything, but still, for a guy like Corbin, that's a guy you want to hit for average just because once he gets on base, then anything can happen. Same thing with the walks, whatever he needs. He's the guy that I think should be closer to 260 or 270 when it comes to the batting average. So hopefully, this is just a sign of things to come. He's hitting the ball a lot better, and going forward is I'm just hoping that he's able to continue on this trend leading into next year. And I know he had some issues this year with the new swing. It takes a while to get used to that sort of thing. So with that, and even the little chip fracture, it is just good to see him to come around, starting to hit the ball more and more often. Alec, I believe, is hitting 270, also almost 280 for the last 30 games, so over 700 OPS. Again, something to look forward to for next season. But Andrew Saalfrank has been. I mean, I know he had the one bad game, but for the most part, since coming back up, he's been just absolutely lights out. He's been so much fun to watch. Like, the gambling man is back, and he's the guy that I think we all sorely needed in this bullpen from the beginning. And unfortunately, through his own actions, he wasn't available early on. So again, guy to look forward to next season. Obviously, I don't think we should rely on him. I still think Hazen should make some moves, get actual bullpen pitchers for next season. There's a lot of guys coming off the, not just coming off the books, but that are going to be available for next season as well. I think they could have probably gone for Kenley Johnson this year. They didn't. But it is what it is. But I do think overall this was a good series. Main thing was just the starting pitching. The starting pitching was really good. The bullpen, for the most part, was really good. They held Cleveland down, and Cleveland isn't the best offensive team, but they can still mash. So it was good to see the pitching get in pretty good order, and hopefully can carry that into the Red Series.
Yeah, so he made a lot of good points. I do agree. Seeing Corbin get a couple more multi hits there, or multi hit games there. I know home run here and there is nice, but seeing him kind of do what Perdoma's been doing, stack up a few more hits here and there, really helps the lineup go along there, and we don't have to worry about maybe some dead spots. And even like Tay-Dad saying Corbin is a career 256 hitter. I think a lot of that does kind of again hurt from how rough of a season he had last year. To where I don't think 256 is where he necessarily is going to be for most of his career. I think he's again getting that up. I know this year again he's hitting like 250, 260. But again, I think that where Corbin is, he's definitely like a 270 and even a little bit higher of a type hitter. So seeing those multiple hits in a few games here and there will be very clutch. And even Justin saying very happy that Shaun is out of third base. We will definitely be diving into that a little bit here, Justin, because that's one of our main topics. But Gabe, you do make a lot of great points there. A lot of good from the series. That again, there's been a lot of bad this season. I think the Saalfrank thing is a great point. We don't want him to be a main arm, but for what we have back there, the Band-Aid job, at least one of the Band-Aids are kind of doing their job. But Brandon, passing it along to you, sir. Looking on the series, kind of everything I mentioned, everything that Gabe's mentioned, the performances, the good, maybe some of the few that weren't as good, especially Locklear. Once again, him and Pavin, I think we're having the worst production from a first base. So we need that kind of turn around soon. But what did you like from the series? What didn't you like from the series? What did you want to kind of bring up here and just the overarching thoughts?
I love watching Geraldo Perdomo play baseball. Like, the fact that he has 80 runs driven in is absolutely insane. Like, I would love for him to get 100, but 20 RBI in 5 weeks is asking a lot. Like, it's not out of the question, but based on where he's hitting now, I think it's going to be more of guys are driving him in, which I'm okay with, because there needs to be people on for Marte and Carroll because they are slugging. I think the most exciting play in baseball is when Corbin Carroll hits a ball into a corner or a gap, because dear Lord, does he fly. Like, everyone's complaining like he doesn't steal as much. He doesn't. When you hit doubles and triples, like, you don't need to. So I was looking on Baseball Savant. He's tied for first in base running runs, which is basically runs created via base running. I'm like, yeah, when you have 16 triples, which he's not breaking the single season record. No. There's no way he gets like 20.
It's nice to be hopeful.
Like, the single season record is 36.
Oh, I thought it was like 20. Okay, yeah,
No.
definitely not.
Yeah,
Definitely
that's the fake record. That's before integration. That none of those numbers count.
not that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, if you look at like the record, it was like 1913. I'm like, yeah, that doesn't count. But yeah, like this team is playing really well. I'm curious, who finishes with more homers, Zach Gallen or Corbin Carroll?
Corbin's already passed him, so at this rate, probably fucking Corbin Carroll.
I don't know. I don't know. I was at the game on Monday, and like Gallen didn't pitch bad, but you gave up home runs. First guy had that was his second career homer, and the other one was his second homer of the season. Or no, wait, no, he had two coming in. So it's just like, and that's why we lost. We lost three. We lost 3-1. Perdomo tried to make it very interesting though in the ninth inning there on Monday with that triple, which it's funny to watch him run because it's like the meme that Gabe posted like every now and then. He looks like Jack Sparrow when he's running, and I think it's hilarious. Gabe brought this up in our group chat about Carroll being a 20 guy, so 20 doubles, 20 triples, 20 homers, 20 stolen bases. That hasn't happened since 2007. Jimmy Rollins and Curtis Granderson. Before that,
Jimmy, is that the year Jimmy won MVP?
I believe so. Yeah. Before that, 1957 by Willie Mays. Before that, 1911. It does not happen a lot. To be honest, the only one I'm concerned about is stolen bases. Because he doesn't end up on first a lot.
He
Like
struck out a lot
that's
still.
like if he could work on his walks. And Gabe brought it up. Like it seems like he's underperforming. I think it's because he's striking out too much, and like so we like it, but we see him have all these homers and these triples, and we're expecting him to do something. So I would love for him to finish with a 2020 season. That would be great.
Yeah, that'd be definitely another kind of accomplishment under his belt because I even have I think it's above my head here that I have, but even a like photo that has all of his accomplishments, and there's already a lot on there. Rookie of the year, all those things. So nice to see him kind of join some company, some very elite company. Jimmy Rollins, Curtis Granderson, who even William Harold in the chat saying Granderson a hero to mankind. Super good guy too. My work actually partnered with him for a charity auction. Where it's trying to get a bunch of kids into, I believe, the hobby and whatnot, kind of get them into card collecting, whether it's Pokemon and sports and stuff. So, Curtis Granderson, shout out to you. Very, very cool guy. But yeah, say the Corbin stat is very cool, but I do agree with you, Brandon. Geraldo Perdomo has been an absolute, like, he's so fun to watch, just so consistent. I mean, I know we talked about him a lot one of our last shows.
Watching him in 22 and seeing him now blows my mind because he was the worst offensive player in all of Major League Baseball.
And it's still crazy considering just the walk to strikeout numbers. I mean, he gets 77 walks as a career high already, and he's at only 60 strikeouts. He has literally half the amount of strikeouts that Corbin Carroll does. Corbin's already at like 120. I think he was at 121 after one of his strikeouts today, and Perdomo's still sitting at just 60. So he is an absolute special talent. And I would say currently, at least this year, the way things are going, he is the number 2 shortstop in baseball. Yes, ahead of Frankie Lindor. Yes, ahead of Ellie De La Cruz. Maybe not all time, because again, I still think Francisco Lindor is going to be a Hall of Famer, or at least he's on trajectory to be a Hall of Famer if he can, kind of stay healthy and have some more productive years. But currently, right now, Perdomo, number 2 in my book. But yes, I'm biased. I don't care. But kind of diving into our first topic here, I know Gabe mentioned it a little bit. Something we don't really get to, talk about as much here is just how good the starting pitching and the bullpen were just the entire series. Usually it might be, one starting pitcher did pretty well, and then the rest of the way, there's kind of a blow-up start here, or the starting pitching was so good, and then the bullpen blew it like we saw with a couple starts there in Colorado. All of them were on their A game here. The offense was the one that, maybe got outshined a little bit, but all the starting pitching, all the starters, again, Zach, Erod, and all went 6+ innings. I know Erod still gave up 4 runs, but hey, I'll take almost 7 innings and 4 runs any day of the week, especially if with the way our offense is, where they can just randomly put up runs. I'll take that. And then the bullpen, they combined for 8 innings, only allowed 1 earned run, and that 1 earned run was from Andrew Hoffman. So just really a very, very solid pitching performance from the starting pitching and bullpen, just kind of all around. So, Gabe, I know you mentioned a little bit there, but I want to send it on to you. Just kind of, give some more flowers out here because, again, we've been very critical of this bullpen all year, rightfully so, with some of the performances we've seen. We've been very critical of guys like Zach Gallen, even early on when Brandon fought. Like, there was a moment there where him and Gallen and Fott were literally like number 2 and number 3 for worst ERAs for qualified pitchers on the season. So I feel like it's definitely deserved to give some flowers to these guys when they deserve it. So the floor is yours, my friend.
Yeah, I just thought they, all we asked for the starting pitchers at this point is just to give this team a chance to win. And that means, anywhere from 0 runs to about 4 runs. I think once you start to get to 5 runs, unless you're pitching 8 innings or so, you're kind of putting the team behind. But with the way that they pitched, Gallen 3 runs, 6 innings, like that was enough to win a game. Unfortunately, the offense just couldn't come through. I mean, they got runners on, they just weren't able to drive anything or really come up with anything. In his case, I don't think he necessarily deserved the loss, but again, like Brandon said, he gave up a couple home runs to guys who probably shouldn't be hitting home runs. But you kind of have to take that with Gallen. Just he's going to give up the home run ball this season. Same with Brandon Fott. But Erod, I think, had a really, really good game. Just made one mistake pitch, and that's sometimes, unfortunately, all it takes. He had given up a walk. He had gotten 2 outs, gave up a walk, and Joe Ram is just Joe Ram. He is a future Hall of Famer. He's just, if not one of, he probably is the best third baseman in all of baseball, not just defensively, but offensively. So just a changeup. It wasn't even a bad pitch. The changeup hit the outside corner. He just read it well and just hit it out. I mean, Erod said after the game he should have buried the changeup, especially with an 0-2 count. He should have thrown it a lot lower. He unfortunately didn't. Just literally got an inch of the zone, and of course Joe Ram was able to just hit it out of there because that's just who he is. He is one of the best players right now. So it's going to happen. But overall, he did have a really good game. He was racking up the strikeouts. I mean, that fastball was just really, really working for him, and it has been working for him for the last few, like 4 or 5 games or so. And like you said, if 6 2/3, I mean, I felt he could have kept going. I mean, he was facing the lefty, I believe, not a switch hitter, before they run in the bullpen. But I think he could have gone 7 innings easily. I mean, just one more guy, but I can understand why they took him out. But 7 innings, 4 runs from Erod, I do think would go a long way for this team in terms of pitching performance, saving the bullpen. And then today, same thing. Brandon Fott, I believe, just went 6 innings, right?
He went 7.
7 innings, 2 runs, and those 2 runs came really early on into the game, really in the first couple of innings. So just was able to recover, come back, pitch 7 innings. Just left a couple innings for the bullpen, but obviously since it went to extras, that use a couple extra guys more than they probably should have. And again, like the only real run from the bullpen was unfortunately Hoffman. I do think with him, he is very young. He's not, he struggled a little bit. I do think maybe should put McCann instead of Jose Herrera, because the difference is night and day between both of them. I know it's a small sample size, but in 3 innings, with McCann, he's allowed 0 runs, and with Herrera, I believe he's allowed like 4 or 5 runs. So that could be the main difference. He did spam that changeup like at least 4 times until they finally got the hit off of it. So maybe just needs a different catcher. But overall, I do think this was a really great pitching performance, and hopefully this is where they keep it going. Like we've seen this happen before. They'll have a series where they pitch great, and then the next series, they'll get obliterated. So just maybe they can work on this, and we'll see. I believe it's who's going on Friday. It's the guy that they just brought up, right?
So
Chris Matt.
Matt, there we go.
He's on
Saturday actually.
Well, Saturday, so it would be
Nelson,
right.
Chris Matt, Gallen.
And then Gallen,
yeah. So hopefully all 3 of them are able to keep this line moving.
And yeah, say like you said about the offense or the pitching kind of saving the bullpen a little bit. We'll need that because again, even if Chris Matt does good, he's probably going to be a 5 inning guy at max unless he's just like super efficient with his pitch count. But we'll have to wait to see. But I do agree, it'd be nice to see them kind of continue this trend and not have it be a one-off series. But on regards to J Ram, there was a fun stat that I saw. Again, he's a stud. There's a reason why the Guardians gave him that contract. One of 6 players in history to have 7 20-20 seasons. 7 20 home run, 20 stolen base
in
seasons.
a row or just total?
I think just total. I don't think it said in a row. I mean, it might be in a, like he might have in a, like he might be like he's had them all in a row, but I know he's had 7 total. I don't think he got 2020 in 2020, just because of how short of a season it was. Yeah, I mean, trust me, I say that all the time at work about the Mickey Mouse rings. But kind of going into some of the chats here really quick before we pass it on to Brandon. Disruptive, welcome on in here saying, yo, ADC blooper walk-off. Yeah, say, shout out to Chris Carajola, by the way. I know, I think Robin Carroll enthusiast. I know that's a typo, obviously, but that's the name on the account. Or not a typo, but that's the name of the account. Who's in our Discord as well. They're even giving some flowers to Chris Carajola. He is fantastic on the radio, and that call was absolutely peak. So love what Chris does on the radio. William Harold in the chat saying, Gallon, hold my beer in regards to Brandon's question on who will finish with more home runs on the season. And again, I would like to see him limit it. If we can go the rest of the season without Gallon giving up any more home runs, that'd be huge. But even kind of like Gabe said, that just seems like a part of just what his game is going to be, especially if he doesn't have his location down, which we've seen that more often a little bit this year. And then Disruptive, another comment saying, if we can just troll teams from now on, I'll call that a success. I agree. Do what the Rockies did today to Shohei Ohtani. Do what they did to the Dodgers the other day. Like, just start to troll teams, get hot, be a spoiler. Even if you don't make the playoffs, make it a absolute living hell, especially those final 3 games of the final 3 series of the year. Phillies, Dodgers, and Padres. We could be a big factor in deciding who's going to be the number 1 seed and who potentially wins the NL West. So just make it fun. Let's be spoilers. Let's cause some chaos on the bases like we saw in Game 2 there with Jake. But Brandon, kind of passing it on to you here on the topic of the starting pitching and the bullpen just being very locked in here in all aspects of the game. What did you kind of like here? What are some of your thoughts on what we saw from our arms here in this Guardian series?
So I've always thought if our starting pitching can get us 18 outs, like 4 runs or less, like I truly think that we could have done some serious damage this year, but we just never could get that going. Gallon, for the most part, never really gave us that. Erod, for the most part, didn't. Like, you can look at their season ERAs; they're both at about 5.5. So yeah, that's that. It's just really hard to come back from. Having to score 6-7 runs to win a game is asking a lot of your offense, especially when you have an offense where runners in scoring position is a season-long struggle. But it was really great to see. All 3 looked really good. Like, they all had like 1 or 2 innings where they struggled. Gallon was because of the 2 homers. Erod was the 4th and the 5th. But like, you take out that J-Ram home run, it's a quality start, which is what you want. Like, if we could get Erod 5 or 6 innings, like 3 runs, like, for me, that's a massive dub. I'll take that every single time. And in the starts that we have seen where he pitches well, it's because he leaves it on the edge of the zone. He doesn't, like, when he doesn't give up those meatballs, which I know it's...
You're telling me he needs to edge these hitters? Is that what you're saying? Is that what you're saying here?
Yes, he absolutely does. Like, everyone needs to just accept he's gonna be in our starting rotation next year. There's no way they're gonna be able to get rid of that contract.
We need the arms.
Just accept it. Like, and it was really great to see the bullpen bounce back after what happened on Saturday and Sunday, blowing both of those games. Like, we're at 39 blown lead losses. Like, it's just. There are some days I'm like thinking, all right, if we take 5 of those, 6 of those, we're right back in a playoff race, and that's what's frustrating. Is that if we could just have, like, I don't need a lights out bullpen. I need an average bullpen, but that's not what we have. We have
far from it.
ERA wise, we're not the worst. We're 4th. The Nationals are almost a run more than we are. We're at 4.83. Nationals are at 5.77 bullpen ERA. So we're not the worst. It feels like it, though, with the 39 blown lead losses. It's just so like they're. At least we don't have to worry about losing our season and watching someone else play the final day. Like, we know this year, it's on us. Whether it's starting pitching, the bullpen, runners in scoring position, it's all on the Diamondbacks.
It's right there in front of us, as Aaron Boone might say. But yeah, we're gonna need the arms, and then even in the regards to like the pitching in itself, which is why it was so nice to see this. There was a fun stat from, I'm not sure who. There's one of the accounts. I don't think it's Brooks Kate. I don't remember exactly what it was. So I don't want to like miscredit them. But there's one where they kind of put up every team's offensive WAR and pitching WAR. The D-backs had like a 20-something plus offensive
TJ
WAR.
stats, I think.
TJ Stats, thank you. I thought so. So shout out TJ Stats. The D-backs have less pitching WAR than the fucking Chicago White Sox. Like, I think they have like 5. It's just been how bad they've been. Like, I don't think there's many guys that have even a positive WAR here and there. Like, I wouldn't be surprised. Like, I'll even check right now. I believe Brandon Pfaadt has about an even, if I'm being completely honest. He might even be negative.
Gallon's got to be negative.
I mean, the only couple guys that we had, I know Merrill Kelly had like a 3.5 WAR, but obviously he's not on the team anymore. So I think Ryan Nelson is right around there. Same with
yeah, Pfaadt is a .9
Burns.
B WAR. Zach Gallen is a .4. I think Nelson might be our only one that actually has. Yeah, Nelson has a 2.2, and then Eduardo Rodriguez, he has a negative .4. So he basically counteracts Zach Gallen. So we have a like 3.3 wins above replacement for our current starting rotation, not including obviously Nabil Charismat and that last spot there. So it's definitely not been the smoothest of sailing from our pitching department. So seeing this in this series was absolutely clutch. And kind of Brandon, you kind of teed it up there perfectly for me. There is a lot of things that this team is the reason why that they can look back at. They are the ones that failed this. It's not any other team. Like even last season, it's still more on them, especially the early season struggles. But whether it's the runners in scoring position, whether it's the pitching itself struggling, the bullpen blowing the 39 leads and all that, a big one that especially would have reared its ugly head today is the amount of outs that we have at home plate on runners being sent. And then some other games, who knows, it could have been turned the other way if they actually were sent home. Because Shaun Larkin, Osama bin Larkin has finally been taken down. They finally got him, boys. It's finally happened. He was relieved of his third base coaching duties. He will stay on to coach the rest of the infield here. And I guess kind of before we dive in here, there was actually a clip that we did get from the MLB film room on Torey Lovullo, kind of explaining his thought process, what kind of went into it, and the accountability for Shaun Larkin. So I believe we have that clip that we're going to play right now.
I decided to remove Shaun Larkin from third base. He's going to continue to take on his infield duties. I'm watching our infielders work hard and practice hard and have some really good results. But, Shaun's taken on a lot. It's a big responsibility over there at third base. I've tried to express to you guys the difficulties of it. But at this point in time, I just feel like the best thing for this ball club, for him, and for us moving forward is to make this decision. So we asked him to take on a lot. He hadn't ever coached third base before at this level and probably hadn't done it in quite some time. So we were going to give him a little bit of a runway. But it's just gotten to the point where I needed to make this decision. We've been dealing with a lot of emotional wear and tear, and against a team that comes in, they're hot, they're playing good baseball, they're well coached, and to win a series, to win the last 2 games, especially the way we did, was an awesome moment. To watch everybody celebrate and have a good moment, which they deserve, was fantastic. And these are the things that can build, you can build off of and create a little bit of momentum. So. My expectation and my standard is that we're going to go out and be as ready as we can on Friday. But I want them to enjoy this. And you have an off day, and you can pile it into that off day. But to watch them celebrate was fantastic. It was a huge moment to get hit that home run. But Alec Thomas bunts a guy over. I go back to 2.5 years ago where he said he never ever bunted in the minor leagues, and we've been hammering him and just drilling him. As much as we can, he lays down a perfect bunt. And then Dell chips in that base hit. Sal Frank comes in and does his job. It's a complete team win. And those are the ones that excite me the most.
See, like Tori said, at the end of the day, they did win the game. But if I don't know if you guys saw the clip or like saw online, I got to see it in person. I think the final straw that broke the camel's back, like he said, he did decide in the middle of the game there. Again, before this one, there were 17 runners thrown at home, and the 18th one was Alec Thomas started the inning with a infield single. James McCann then James McCann came up. He had a single into center field, and Alec was going to easily get to third. Again, he's fast. The center fielder fielded the ball cleanly, but then kind of stumbled a little bit and did a somersault. Which again, I don't blame the thought process of being like, ooh, maybe I should send him. But he immediately got up and was already on his feet. And before Alec was even rounding third base, is when he was already back on his feet. He established control and was ready to throw the ball in. And that's when Larkin gave him the wheel sign, sent him on home. And I even know some people online are like, "Oh, these are major league players." Like that wasn't even a great throw. Their shortstop has one of the best arms in baseball, Arias. Like he has an absolute cannon. He kind of showed it off a couple times in this series. And the Guardians, again, tip of the cap to the Guardians. They made a very good play. It was a perfect relay. Like he didn't miss throw the shortstop. And then the shortstop made an absolute beautiful one hop there to the catcher. And Alec was out by a mile. So I can see the thought process there. But still, with that situation being down by a run, James McCann would have either, I believe, probably been at second base either way. If not, you have runners on first and third with the top of your lineup and Ketel Marte coming on up. But instead, out at home, still down by a run. James McCann's up there. Ketel Marte then goes to hit a single, so would have, again, who knows? The universe could have changed things anyway. Maybe Ketel doesn't get a single if they hold him up. Who knows? But still would have tied the game there. And then Geraldo Perdomo grounds into an inning-ending double play there, just killing the rally entirely after all of the energy was kind of sucked out of the stadium from the fans. So taking into account that play there specifically and all the other ones we've seen this season, again, there's a lot to dive on into, especially the amount of times that Eugenio Suarez, when he was still on the team, was kind of sent home when he shouldn't have, and then speedy runners kept up at third. Just very bipolar, very indecisive decision-making, and even like Tori said, it's a tough position at the major league level to be a third base coach, especially when you haven't done it before. So I totally get that, but after what we've seen this season and today, for them to finally pull the trigger here, what are your thoughts on them moving on from Larkin? Again, they have no set plan yet, but how did you kind of react to this information here of them relieving him of his duties but still keeping him on the team to coach the infield?
So the main thing I just thought about was just kind of like, why now? We're almost 130 games into the season. We have about 30 something left. Why now? Like it seems such a weird time to move on from him. I mean, usually for moves like this, that either happen during the All-Star break, very early in the season, or at the end. Usually don't fire guys, or I mean, I know he's not fired, but I guess relieved from his duties. Usually it doesn't happen at this point in the season. Look at all like the managers that were fired, like the Pirates, the Rockies, um, somebody else the Baltimore. All of them did it pretty early on, like within the first 40 to 50 games of the season. And that usually happens with most coaches, hitting coaches, pitching coaches, whatever it is. Most of them get relieved, within those first 50 games or so. So to have him be relieved at this point in the season, I mean, if they don't even have a plan, it's really weird. Like, I mean, I didn't want him there anyways, but it is kind of just weird that it's happened this late and there's no real plan for it. I mean, my dad kind of just mentioned like maybe Montero, like could he just take over just in the meantime? I mean, he has been in the dugout a lot and in the clubhouse, so he could just maybe take over that duty briefly, just until they find somebody else. But I know it is a hard job. I think Tori, for the most part, like up until finally today, he did mention a lot of like, well, he's trying his best. I'm like, well, his best isn't good enough. Like when you're third worst in the league, when it comes to getting thrown out at home compared to last year, they're third best. Like they really didn't get thrown out too often with Perez Chica back there. Like the drop off is huge, and it costs a lot of games throughout the season. It could have cost this one. I mean, they could have gone into I believe it was the seventh inning. They could have gone into the seventh or eighth inning with the tie game. Instead, they were down a run through most of this game until the Gurriel homer. Like, obviously things can turn out different ways, but the Gurriel homer could have been it, and they could have won off a walk off right there, but instead they had to play in extras and bring in some extra pitchers. But um, I never root for guys to lose their jobs necessarily because I know these jobs are hard to come by. There's only 30 of them in the league, but Shaun Larkin, he's a player development guy. He was never supposed to be in this position. They, kind of like a lot of things that we've seen recently from this organization. They've been run not so great recently, putting guys in positions where they're not going to succeed. And I don't necessarily blame Larkin for this. I mean, he did the job to the best of his abilities, but again, his abilities weren't as good as they should have been, and he deserves to get relieved of his duties. But again, shouldn't have happened in the first place. This organization should have done a better job finding somebody to be the third base coach, and who knows how many more games they could have won without this. But I had the question to you guys as well, like, is this just the first guy whose head is going to roll? Or are there more of these moves to come? I mean, I can think of a pitching coach who hasn't done a good job this season either. So I don't think he's going to be the first I mean, he's the first, but I don't think he's going to be the last.
Yes, in regards to the how we're the third worst and we were the third best last year. Do you guys this stat I heard on the PHNX show when I was listening to Derek and Damon earlier? Do you know who is third best this season when it comes to runners getting thrown at home? Like who has the third least? Let's take a guess.
Probably a team with really slow runners.
No, it's the Astros with Tony Parashika. So and
Sounds
again,
right.
I know even in the offseason, when it happened, like a lot of us even last year were a little bit critical because there were times where Tony could kind of have the same issue where he might send some guys in some situations like, what are you doing there? But I don't think it was probably around the third of amount of times that we saw this year, to where again, you know what, it's kind of like when I see all the photos of them celebrating. Like when I went on the elevator today, they have a giant photo of them after Game 7 of the NLCS, and I'm like, man, I wish there was a way to know you were in the good times before you left them, and I guess that's a lot of us now with Tony Parashika no longer being here. But Valley Boys is saying here in the chat, bring in Nick Ahmed for the third base coach would be hilarious and would probably be better than Larkin, and that would be funny. Honestly, he probably. I think I do like Gabe's idea of bringing in Montero. I think just at least a player that knows. Like it's actually played the game, but on the field, I think that might be a good factor to it. Plus, I think it's also just knowing the arms of the opposing teams, because I think that's a big thing. Is maybe he might forget, like, yeah, we got some speedy guys, but if there's a guy in the outfield that has a really good arm, or a shortstop that has one of the best arms in baseball, maybe don't run on them. Maybe let your MVP caliber players at the top of the order try to drive them in. But in regards to Gabe's question, I don't think it's going to be the last person that's going to be whether relieved of their duties or just full on fired. I don't think we'll see Kaplan come until the end of the season, and who knows, maybe even that one, maybe they're going to chalk it up to, like, there's some growing pains, we still trust you, the end of the season, whatever, yada yada. I wouldn't be surprised if they hold on to him, but I think there will be at least a few other names, maybe even the medical staff eventually, that's moved on here. But Brandon, passing it on to you. I know even in regards to Gabe's question, if you want to get your thoughts onto that, and also just in general your thoughts on the whole Shaun Larkin situation, because I do agree waiting until 130 something games in seems like a little bit late, but at least they're trying to do something and address the situation now. So again, we don't lose another few games off of setting runners or holding up runners when we should have done the opposite.
I don't know where I saw. I don't remember the source, but I think he's cost us 7 to 8 games. Oof. If you flip that, and we're what, like 4 or 5 games over 500. We're pretty close to it changes potentially us being sellers at the deadline. It truly does change how that was. So that's frustrating. I think after what happened with Jake McCarthy on Sunday, I think that was it. I think they're like, one more and we're moving on. I didn't think they'd realize it would be about 3 days later. Like, the thing with him, and Tori brought up, like, he's never done it before. So he's so really insecure on when to send and when not to send. Like, I remember early in the season, there was a play down the left field line. He stops Perdomo. Perdomo's like, hell no, I'm going anyway. Like, there's certain people that you send them 99% of the time. Corbin Carroll, Jake McCarthy. Like those two, like that play on Sunday with Jake. The ball was thrown to the cutoff man. It wasn't even thrown to home. And Larkin's almost at home plate telling Jake to stop. Like he has no idea what he's doing. It sucks. Like Gabe said, never actively rooting for a guy to be relieved of his duties, but I think at this point, like this should have been done months ago. Like this should have been done at least 2 months ago. Like after like the fourth or fifth time of either not sending him when he should or sending them when he shouldn't, like clearly at that point the team had to know, okay, this guy just doesn't have it. But again, there's no like what other options are we gonna do? So we're gonna find out. They have an off day tomorrow. So are they just going to maybe grab someone from the minors? Like and one of those coaches, like go look at the numbers from the guys in AAA and AA and see how they're doing. Do you do what Gabe says? Make it Miggy? Do you do Bannister? Like, could you even like do that? Like, I don't think they're gonna bring anyone outside the organization, unless there's someone out there that doesn't have a job that can make it to Phoenix by Friday night, because they don't really have to worry about him doing other things. Like your job is to be able to gauge these outfielders. Like they're gonna have the advanced data to know each series. Okay, this guy has an arm, don't run on him. This guy doesn't have an arm, run on him. Like they go through that every series. So that's what was frustrating with me with Larkin, is they had the data. He just, I guess, didn't really look at it.
We have the technology.
And in regards to Gabe's question, I don't think they fired Kaplan, because I think pitching has, to be honest, since the Corbin Burns injury, we haven't had many of those pitching injury situations. Bullpen's been better of late, taking out that Rocky series. Charles, that's a really great one.
Having Gonzo running down the booth.
Just have Bradley to do it. Like I'm like this might be a hot take. I'm done with Bob Brenly in the booth. Like the amount of back in my day, like I'm like
It's almost as bad as John Smoltz on the national broadcast.
yeah. So I'm like, and like there are a lot of times Brenly is furious with this team. So yeah, go ahead and put him at third base. Sorry, go S BB. I'd be okay with it. But the 18 outs at home is beyond insane. 18. Like, oh my God, it's so just frustrating. I don't know if they're gonna fire anyone else. Like, I think they should fire some other people. I just don't know if they're gonna do it, because they're gonna say, well, injuries, we didn't have a bullpen, that's why we struggled this year. Like, at this, like, I want Torrey gone. I just don't think Hazen's gonna do it. If Torrey is let go, it's because it's Ken Kendrick making the decision.
Yes, I think it's going to be one of those where I don't think any more moves will obviously happen until the actual official offseason. Maybe they will. I know a lot of people are calling for Kaplan's job, but again, I think they will fall back on the, well, he's not the one causing these guys injuries. Maybe there's more that we mentioned in the past. Maybe his throwing program led to it. Maybe that's not the case. Maybe it's just one of those where, again, it's a trend we've seen all over baseball. It's not just a Dbacks issue. Yeah. It's a lot of players are kind of having their arm blowouts. I mean, hey, looking just because it's on my mind, I watched a video, even back in the day, 2007, Brandon Webb, literally career-ending, his shoulder just literally died on opening day against the Rockies, and he was never able to come back. Like this, I know it's elbow and shoulders are different, but in every era, there's always going to be some pitching injuries. I know we have a little bit more this year. I think it's just, again, because guys throw a lot harder, so you're just going to kind of run into some of those issues here and there. But yeah, so we'll probably not see any kind of firings or even more relieved of duties until the offseason comes around. But I wouldn't be surprised if there's at least one or two more. I just don't know if there's going to be that many, but who knows? I think at some point, especially if they have another season like this one next year, there's definitely got to be a clean of house, and get some fresh faces in there because the coaching
There
staff just wouldn't be
is
doing it.
going to lose it if Torrey's not fired the day after the season ends.
Oh yeah, I mean,
They're gonna call this a unserious organization. This team doesn't know what they're doing. Like this is on par for Arizona sports. But I'm like, it's not gonna be Hazen that does it. Like, I just don't think because of how close they are that he'll do it. I would like to be surprised, but I think if Torrey's let go, I think Hazen's let go too. I think they're gonna do a fresh start.
they're a package deal at this point. But yes, I did like Charles Elliott's comment about bringing Gonzo or Brenly, and even I believe one of those names is what Williams mentioning here, saying have the guy who thinks he works at Casino Arizona do it, he'd be better. I'm assuming you're either talking about Gonzo or the guy in that commercial, that's like pretending to be like the valet at the casino. I mean, at this point, literally like anybody. Anybody could be better at the job again, as long as you can look at and go, "Wow, yeah, maybe this outfielder is good. Maybe this outfield is Teoscar Hernandez in the outfield. Send everybody home. He's dog shit in right field. If you have basically any other,
If it's Fernando Tatis, you put up the stop sign.
exactly. So know it a little bit better, and I think we'll. And again, watching our first game, whoever it's going to be, send somebody home and we get thrown out of home plate, and we're like, well, I guess we can't win no matter what we do. But Bubba, I want to welcome you in here. Always appreciate you stopping by, Bubba. And then even Charles is bringing up another point here about Kaplan, saying if not firing Kaplan, then there needs to be a vet pitching assistants to help support the dude. And I don't necessarily hate that idea. I know we kind of had Dan Heron be our pitching strategist in the organization for a few years. He's kind of the one that like looks at numbers. I know there's a lot of articles around the time when Mad Bum was still here where he would give Madison a plan of like, oh, hey, pitch guys this way. And Mad Bum would basically be like, analytics. Back in my day, you just toe the rubber and you just throw what pitch you feel best. I'm going to go play with my horses. Like, he's the Joker of the baseball world. But, you know, I don't necessarily hate the idea. Yeah, oh God, I can't wait to get that contract off of our books. But
I think it's this year.
I think this is the last year, yeah.
Yeah, this was it.
Thank God, we can finally wipe our hands clean of that shit. But any of the final thoughts on the series, gentlemen, or again anybody in the chat? Any final points you guys want to make on the win over the Guardians? Maybe anything else you wanted to double back on? Maybe something else that kind of popped up that you wanted to mention that you didn't earlier before we move on into our next series preview.
I think it's just nice to see some reinforcements coming in. Vargas played really well today at second base. I mean, Pavin is just Pavin, unfortunately, and he has one base hit since coming up. He's played in the last 3 games. He has quite a few at bats. Hasn't really done much. Locklear still
Time for the
still isn't what they still isn't what they wanted him to be. So
I mean,
maybe
it's a small sample size. With
I mean, he's closing in on 70 at bats. Like it's still small, but it's not that small.
It's not giving us a lot of hope.
Especially for a guy who's getting every day at bats, like you said. Like if it was like a Lawler, 17 at bats, 19 days, that's a small sample size. It's a guy who's not getting the reps he needs. Locklear playing every day, I think, it's kind of a problem that he's just not contributing much to this team at all. But Gabby might be coming back soon. Could be back as soon as Friday. Lawler hit a home run as well. He believe he hit a triple or a double.
It was on a slider,
So I'm bringing that up just to say, I mean, I know it doesn't concern the series as much, but it does concern them a little bit just to see, like, who, like I mentioned in the last episode, this team could look very different in a couple of weeks with some of the moves that are still to be made, and they could make things interesting. Like I mentioned before, like, just be at around 500 in the last couple of weeks. Like, don't be eliminated September 1st. Like, that's kind of all I ask. Get eliminated the 3rd week of September. Like, make the games count at least till the end, to where you're still at least trying to fight.
Yeah. And in regards to the Locklear thing, I believe even Damon on the PHNX show, he made a great point where if you're going into the offseason opening day as your main first base options of being Locklear and Pavin Smith, I know you got guys like Ivan Melendez, maybe Lou James Groover if he can, because I know he's had a couple like injury issues here and they're nothing major, but if he can make that next step forward, Like sorry, been a lot of talking on camera this week where my brain and my mouth are not on the same page anymore. But if we're going into next season with Locklear and Paven producing at the numbers we've seen them produce, I know again, like Brandon said, 70 at bats, smaller sample size, still some more time to turn it around. It might be time to get a little bit panicked, and worry about what our options are and maybe try to address that. But who knows? That's a problem for the off season. That's what we can worry about in a few months from now. When we have nothing really to talk about after the season's over. But Brandon, passing it on to you. Any other final thoughts that you had here on the series? Whether it's kind of like what Gabe was talking about, seeing some of the newer call ups like ADC still staying pretty well. Vargas doing pretty well again. He maybe doesn't always make an impact with his bat, but he's still really solid in the field, which is nice to see. Anything else you kind of wanted to touch on here before we move on into our series preview of the Reds?
Charles brings up a solid point. AC should get reps at first base. They need to move him to first base this offseason. There's no reason to have he's not gonna be our backup catcher, because just his catching ability is just not there. Move him to first base, please, because I think that would make me feel better, because we know he can hit, and I think him at first base could be something. I know Lourdes has been hitting well lately, but the fact that his OPS is still right at 700 is insane. It just shows that he just doesn't walk. That's the problem.
No.
17 homers, 71 runs driven in. I'd be fine with that. You go look at his OPS. No, it's like 704.
It's a 298 on base percentage this season.
Yeah.
He has a sub 300 OBP.
So yeah, that's why his on base his OPS is low. I believe they said it on the broadcast. He leads the National League in runs driven in the month of August. So it's good because he's hitting in the 4-hole, whether you people like it or not. Everyone was they didn't like him hitting in the 3-hole. I'm like, well, when you trade Gino and Naylor, somebody has to hit in that 4-hole.
Do you want Locklear there? Do you want Thomas? I'd like Thomas, but he's not a 4-hole hitter.
Yeah. So I just want him to continue to do this because I think he's going to exercise his player option. I think that's almost a guarantee.
Yeah, which I wouldn't necessarily hate. Again, if he can, I still really like Lourdes. I think he can, and he's had a few clutch moments. I feel like maybe not all the time, maybe in the middle of the games, but it seems like he always has some late inning home runs. Even again one against the Cubs earlier this year when we had that big comeback against them. That one against the Dodgers that on the Serpientes debut night, we unfortunately obviously lost that one. The one against Mason Miller. This one now, so he has a little bit of a clutch gene in him. So I wouldn't necessarily hate seeing him kind of come back here.
I want him at DH personally because watching him in the outfield sometimes it's so
weird. It's
awkward.
like a flip of a coin. Sometimes he'll make whether it's a bad route that he just kind of readjusts to and makes it look like a great play. He's our strongest arm in the outfield, and I don't want to take that away. It's not saying much, but at least it's something. Yeah. Where I don't want to deal with next year our outfield of being McCarthy, Alec, and Corbin, or even I know they're trying to move Tommy Troy out into the outfield and trying him there. Even in the few years Caldwell, I don't think Caldwell has the biggest arm. Maybe he can turn around. Corbin's made some improvements. He's got a little bit of a stronger arm this year. And I don't think we're going to get a PCA type arm out in the outfield anytime soon.
McKay. I don't think he's strengthened his arm. They've just worked on his technique of getting the ball out quicker.
Yeah, so it's definitely made whatever the improvements were. It's been at least a little bit noticeable, but still, we would be lacking a little bit of teams would literally just be like, dude, we could literally have Shaun Larkin as a third base coach. You guys aren't throwing us out. I don't give a shit. You could send everybody home.
Do we need a third base coach? Can't we just have the guys just make the decision?
Just treat it like beer league softball. You only need a third base coach every now and then. If not, just fuck it. Just you're there for the vibes, But yeah, all in all, a great series win, a lot of positives. Again, I think the 2-1 run wins, as I mentioned earlier, is a big piece into building some confidence. Because again, season's not over. If they can just go on a roll, we've been asking them to go on a roll. This is the time to do it. Take care of things against the Reds if they can.
14 in a row.
Yeah, if they can.
Like the Brewers did, it's not out of the realm of possibility.
Yeah, so even if it's just a couple sweeps here and there, especially against a team that we have coming up in the Cincinnati Reds, that would be I would get fully bought into this team again. I mean, not like I'm not like my mom renewed season tickets for next year, so no matter what, I'll still be there a bunch of games next year either way. But like Gabe said, just don't be eliminated come September. Fight for the rest of the season, and this next series coming up will be a big factor into it because the Cincinnati Reds, who are, I believe, a few spots ahead of us. Yeah, they are one game out of the wild card. They are right behind the New York Mets, so they are a potential playoff team. So whether we actually can go all the way up and leapfrog in the standings and get back into contention, or we just play the role of spoiler, this will be a big series. Game one on Friday night is going to be Zach Littell. Sorry, he's 9-8 with a 3.52 ERA going up against Ryan Nelson. We know Nelly 6.3, 3.58 ERA. Trying to bounce back from that rocky start, which again wasn't like necessarily a bad start. The bullpen allowing that run kind of made his line look a little bit worse, but I think Nelly will be doing Nelly things. Game two is going to be Abbott, who is 8-3 with a 2.28 ERA. He's a pretty tough lefty. I believe we faced him in the series where we got swept earlier this year. He kind of shut us down for a little while, and again that ERA alone looks pretty nasty, and he's I feel like a little bit of an underrated arm. So he'll be going up against Nabil Krismat on Saturday. Obviously, Krismat very low sample size, but a 1.8 ERA in the season. And then Brady Singer, who went from the Royals last year to the Reds this year. He is 11-9 with a 4.18 ERA on Sunday, going up against Zach Gallen, who's 9-13 with a 5.20 ERA. I believe we faced both Singer and Abbott the last time we faced the Reds, so hopefully they don't change around too many plans, and we can maybe put up a little bit more runs off both of them than we did. But looking at the matchups that we have here, maybe some potential names that we have coming into town, it'll be fun seeing Ellie De La Cruz. Hopefully we can shut him down. What are you guys going to be kind of keeping an eye out for on the series, whether it's a certain matchup or, as always, maybe like a prediction or two on what we're going to see here in this 3-gamer against Cincinnati?
Well, we're not playing in the rain this time, thankfully. So hopefully no crazy, stupid injuries. Half our team doesn't go down this series. So it could be a little bit more evenly matched than it was the last time, hopefully. So, they can at least put up a fighting chance, maybe sweep. I mean, they do have really good pitching. Their bullpen's all right. But I do think the D-backs still, in this battle of changes to have a better offense. The only one I would worry about is just the lefty. Like, this team kind of just struggles with lefties. So I don't know how things are going to work out there. But if Gabby comes back, I think I feel a lot better about that. If certain guys get sent down or let go, I think I would feel a little bit better about that as well. So hopefully Gabby's able to come back, get the vibes up. They can maybe sweep, take a couple games, win the series again, then move on to the next one. And, it's a little late to just be winning series and hoping to, make some noise. But at this point in the season, you kind of just have to take what they give you.
Again, if we can be spoilers here, we can piss off the Reds and keep them out of the playoffs like we did in 2023, or maybe if we lose, maybe we can piss off Mets fans and have them be disappointed that we couldn't keep them kind of in their spot there. But yes, it'll be nice to see if we can potentially get Gabby back. I know he's been looking pretty good in Reno, so we're probably going to see a move. Unfortunately, probably means the end of James McCann as a D-back, because I do not think it's kind of like Pavin. Herrera and Pavin are just it's like in a video game. When you pick up a weapon and it just automatically binds to your inventory, or like binds to you where you can't get rid of it. That's basically what they are dealing with in Pavin Smith and Jose Herrera, or at least what it feels like. So probably going to be dealing with our last series with James McCann as a D-back, unfortunately. But getting Gabby back, even if it means we keep Jose, as long as we get Gabby back, that'd be great, because I would love to see us throw out some more base runners, especially the series against Ellie De La Cruz. We know he flies. Just the other day, he scored from first on a fucking single. It was a hit and run, and it was a little bloop to left, and he came all the way around and scored. So having Gabby back there will be huge to kind of limiting what the Reds do, because I believe they tried to steal a bunch of bases. Him, I believe Fraley as well, some speedsters out there. So that'll be, for me, my matchup to watch is if we can get Gabby out there and seeing how much of an impact he has on the run game. But Brandon, passing it on to you, looking at, obviously the matchups we have here, kind of like what Gabe and I were saying about, maybe Gabby coming up, some other names here and there. What are you going to be keeping your eye on for in this next series, and maybe like a prediction or two that you have?
Very curious to see what this roster is going to look like on the first pitch on Sunday. Because I think from what it looks like, Gabby's ready to go. Looks like Gabby is really ready to go. What's the decision going to be? I'm preparing for ADC to be sent down. personally. I just think that's what they're gonna do. Like they're gonna be like, we don't have enough at bats for all these guys, so they're gonna send him down. I would love if I see a graphic that says designated for assignment Jose Herrera. I'm y'all might be able to hear me all the way in San Diego because that's truly what I think they should do. Like I know he calls a great game, but I'm sorry, you can't sacrifice 3 outs a game, especially if you're playing Tyler Locklear, because that's another sacrificing 3 outs a game. Like you're really handy. Like you don't have 9 innings, you have 7 innings at that point. So it really doesn't help the team. I don't know how these pitching matchups are gonna go. I think Nelly has the advantage. On Friday against Loetel. I think Abbott has the advantage against Charismatic because I think we got lucky. The fact that he just went through 5 innings
up against
like
the worst
60
team
pitches.
in baseball.
Yes, that too. And Gallen is like, if he doesn't have the walks, it's the homers. If he has the homers, he doesn't have like it's freaking one or the other. So. I don't like sweep would be great because then we gain 3 games on the Reds. So we're 5 games back of the Reds right now. So
A sweep would be nice.
Yeah. So I just
You'd say it'd be pretty sweep if we could do that.
you and your dad jokes. I mean, you've been doing it since before you were a dad, so it's not really a new thing for you being a dad. But like Gabe said, I want them to have meaningful baseball games in September. Like, if they can have something to play for up to those last 6 games with the Dodgers and Padres, I think for me that would like. I still think 75 wins is obtainable. I think 500 is asking a lot.
At this point, yeah.
If they didn't blow those games to the Rockies, I truly felt like we were on a good run, but we know what happened there on Thursday and Friday of last week. Some people say that's not the reason. I'm like, it
didn't help.
Sports, no, like playing sports like can mess with your mind, like something like that. I think not only affected Marte, it affected the entire clubhouse because they're all probably wondering who's the leak. And I think they all were pressing in that series.
Who's the leek? Who's the asparagus? Who's the carrot? Gotta find these things out, you know? Sorry. Had to get as many dumb jokes as I can in for you guys.
Yeah. So, I mean, it'd be great if, like, a sweep, because then I'm like, wait, what's our record? Would that put us over 500?
I think we'd be down.
No, yeah, sorry. We'd still be 1 game under.
Yeah, down 1 game.
For me, that's the goal, is to just get back to 500. Just get back to 500. So we'll see how the series goes.
Yeah, so it'll definitely be an interesting one coming in. And this will be a big piece, like I said, whether we're deciding our season or could potentially deciding some other teams' seasons. It'll be a fun series. The Reds are always tough, but you know what? They swept us in their ballpark. Let's return the favor. Let's sweep them, and let's make the final month here, or month and a half, a little bit more interesting than it's been looking out here. But again, we appreciate every single one of you guys for tuning on in here to another fun episode of Dbacks Dispatch. It was looking like it was going to be a disappointing one, but like I said, that walk off there kind of set us all into a nicer mood than I imagined that we expected, especially knowing that the news of Shaun Larkin. It's almost like we got a double win. We won twice today, which again we're not celebrating a person losing their job. Like that's not how we want to spin it. We just think this is in the betterment of the team, something that should have happened. So that's nice to see. So again, we appreciate you guys all tuning on in here. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe on the YouTube. Rate us whatever stars or however rating system works on whatever you're listening to us. If you're not listening to us on YouTube, rate us whatever you feel like we deserve. Make sure you guys, if you're on Twitter, follow us on Twitter. Or if you're not on Twitter, follow us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok as well. While you're on the Twitter side of things, check our pinned tweet for the Discord. Or again, if you don't have Twitter, check the YouTube description. It's in every one of our videos, even our past videos. The link to there is, or link to the Discord is in there. Again, it's absolutely free. You don't got to pay a single dime to get in there. So come join a community that it seems like it's growing every single week. And then, as always, make sure you guys go on over to azsnakebit.com. Check out all the great writing that guys like, Joshua, our producer, he does a lot of great recaps. Jeff Irving in our Discord, he does a lot of great articles. And there's even a great op-ed kind of on that whole Ketel Marte situation that I feel like is a great read for any Dbacks fans. So, again, make sure you guys check out all the great content over there because I know every single person over on the Snakebit does an absolutely fantastic job. But in the meantime, we will catch you guys most likely Sunday night as we're... Again, fingers crossed that we can talk about another fun and exciting D-backs series win, potentially sweep. But we'll have to see how things play out this weekend. You guys have an absolutely fantastic rest of your weekend, and we'll catch you guys in the next episode. Peace out.
Under the lights, the game goes down. Desert heat, but we own this town. Brennan Gabe on the call with Josh in the back, bringing it all. Fastballs hum, the bats ignite. 9 innings deep, we fight all night. Wins and losses, highs and lows. We break it down, yeah, that's how it goes. D-backs dispatch, turn it